Strap in, faithful. Today's rundown has the kind of twists that flip a depth chart and rewire a September game plan. A phone call from the East could change how the offense breathes. A quiet tryout in Santa Clara might snowball inside the locker room. A veteran wideout just reignited the vertical game. And a defensive warning light refuses to shut off. Which one forces the front office to move first? You won't believe what we've got. So settle in, drop a like, subscribe, and let's dive straight into the stories. Because the first one could protect Christian McCaffrey's season before it even starts. While it looks like the roster's mostly intact, there's a hidden thread that could unravel the whole sweater: the backfield. Through 2 preseason games, 4 running backs have already landed on the injury sheet. Isaac Garendo and Patrick Taylor Jr. with shoulder issues, Jordan James with a finger, Corey Kiner with an ankle. That leaves Christian McCaffrey, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Keyshawn Vaughn. For an offense built on rhythm and variation, that's a gamble you don't want to take into week 1. Out east, one phone call could unlock the solution. A name with bulldozer power, red zone instincts, and starter mileage is reportedly available. This isn't a mirage of late August, it's the kind of opportunity contenders need to sniff out. Washington is said to be shopping a running back entering the final year of his rookie deal extension, eligible and by all signs outside their financial plans. If you follow the cap game chessboard, the plot is familiar: extract value now rather than lose him for nothing. The question is whether the Niners will be aggressive enough to jump into that conversation today. Yes, Brian Robinson Jr., and the irony stings, he could have been a 49er in 2022, but San Francisco spent a 3rd-round pick on Ty Davis-Price instead. Fast forward, TDP bounced around with 43 career carries. Robinson became a starter and delivered exactly the package Kyle Shanahan loves as a counterpunch to number 23, the Ferrari. Straight-line power, yards after contact, pragmatic vision on 3rd and short, and most importantly, the toughness to dig dirty yards between the tackles. He's the type who turns drives into time bled off the clock. But he misses a couple of games, right? Every power back collects bruises. Even so, Robinson reorders the puzzle. Short yardage without telegraphing QB sneak, goal line with an identity, play action that forces linebackers to respect downhill. After the front office paid a 34-year-old fullback and shipped Jordan Mason to Minnesota, there's a noticeable crater behind CMC. Today, Plan B is Jeff Wilson Jr., a pro's pro, beloved, steady, but without the same ability to pound a physical front for 4 quarters. Vaughn adds depth, but he still has to prove consistency in blitz pickup and overall QB protection. Financially, the sticking point is the extension. If the ask is steep, the front office might try to survive September with what they have, hoping the training room clears out. But there's a ghost in that plan: overuse McCaffrey early. And the tab arrives between weeks 12 and 15. Suddenly you're falling from a 1-seed ceiling to wild card survival mode. On the field, Robinson is a hammer in inside zone, duo, and power. In pass protection, he buys an extra heartbeat in the pocket. At the goal line, he turns series into 7, not 3. The draft pick cost shouldn't be prohibitive if the market stays thin. And let's be real, protecting CMC is an investment, not a luxury. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. While everyone was refreshing the injury spreadsheet and doing cap math, a quiet spark lit the offense. It wasn't a lab trick play or a miracle throw. It was someone running routes like he had the defense's blueprint, seeing windows a half beat before his man. With Brandon Ayuk lost at the end of 2024 and Deebo Samuel traded in the spring, the receiver room turned into one big question mark. The preseason opened with drops, misfires, and nerves. The first jolt hit against Denver, but a week later in Las Vegas, an answer walked onto the field and changed the tone, reminding everyone there's still plenty of dynamite in this group.
Take a breath, because the name says a lot about what this roster needs. The wideout who re-emerged isn't an August mirage. He's a living reminder of vertical threat and quick fuse. He was the preferred target, posting 5 catches for 92 yards on 7 targets, and outplaying teammates slotted ahead of him on the depth chart. He forced the staff to reevaluate alignments, redistribute responsibilities, and recalibrate the room's hierarchy. Beyond raw numbers, he supplied what was missing: separation on 3rd down, space finding versus zone, and presence at the top of the route. Yes, Robbie Chosen, the artist formerly known as Robbie Anderson. The legend goes Bill Belichick always respected how he stretched the field. In Vegas, he showed why. With motion to ID coverage and smart splits, Chosen turned go routes and comebacks into a metronome of trust, forcing the safety to honor deep. In Shanahan's world, that's gold. Linebackers can't sink under tight end dig routes. Play action widens, and the intermediate crossers finally get room to breathe. When a defense fears the long ball, the offense dictates tempo. Context matters. In the preseason opener, rookie Jordan Watkins was the only wideout to surpass 40 yards. Then he joined the injury line.
Russell Gage Jr., Tariq Owens, Junior Bergen, and Jacob Cowing mixed flashes with inconsistency. When injuries hit, the question shifts from who has the highest ceiling to who produces on Sunday. Chosen produced. That changes the 53 math. If veteran availability doesn't resolve by week 1 Sep 7 in Seattle, he stamps the WR3 chair. And honestly, a WR3 who can align outside and occupy a safety makes any coordinator's life easier. Practical impact: you can run 11 and 12 personnel with Chosen clearing out space for tight ends on crossers, but also use him as an immediate target against off coverage on third and medium. In the red zone, he's not the prototypical body type, but he forces defenses to respect the fade and open slants with a leverage edge. Special teams, not his lane, and that's fine. His job is to trigger explosives and force adjustments. One caution: sustain the hands and build crisp sight-adjust chemistry with the quarterback. If that stabilizes over the next couple of weeks, the locker room gains a steadying force amid chaos. Zoom out to the mid-afternoon rhythm in Santa Clara, where routine now includes refreshing the transaction wire at 2 p.m. PT. The 49ers worked out 4 players Monday afternoon, 3 wideouts and 1 very familiar quarterback. Nothing flashy for headlines, but a practical checkup before a bruise turns into a migraine. The staff wanted controlled reps downfield balls, timed routes, watchful eyes on footwork and timing. The question humming in the background: is there a real spot up for grabs, or is this just keeping practice afloat? Yep, that quarterback was Nate Sudfeld, the same one from the 2021 roster. Likely handling the throws as the team evaluated Colton Dowell, Jalen Guyton, and J.J. Jones. This is the tough conversation. Does this signal confidence in in-house fixes, or does it quietly reveal the receiver room needs a plug-in now? Among the trio, you've got a vertical threat with real NFL production, a big-bodied project with tools, and a young grinder just cut who's trying to turn urgency into opportunity. Start with the big frame. Colton Dowell, 26 years old, 6'3", 212 pounds, a 2023 7th-rounder by the Titans. NFL production so far: 1 catch as a rookie in 5 games. The profile: perimeter blocker with length to contest at the catch point, but routes still raw. In Shanahan's book, that archetype thrives in heavy sets, motion that muddies reads, and play action that demands effort away from the ball. If he embraces the dirty work with attention to detail, he becomes a quiet piece that keeps drives alive and helps edge runs breathe. The speed piece: Jalen Guyton, a name you know from the Chargers. From 2019 to 2023, he posted 71 receptions, 1,112 yards, and 7 scores, peaking in 2020 and 2021. Translation for the Niners: a vertical stressor who stretches the field, forces the safety to back off, and opens the intermediate windows for tight ends and slot crossers. If he shows timing on deep routes and builds chemistry with the starter, he turns into an immediate tool to punish simple looks and hold the defense honest on the first read. Rounded out with J.J. Jones, undrafted out of North Carolina, 6'2", 210, waived by Jacksonville before preseason, really got going. He's the do-a-bit-of-everything profile. Short routes, special teams effort, discipline as a gunner. When you're chasing the last chair, special teams often decides it. Why now? Because absences add up. Ja'Cory Jennings' situation lingers. Jordan Watkins is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Jacob Cowing is ramping back up, and Demarcus Robinson's suspension could stick. That turns the 2 p.m. wire into a ritual. Using Sudfeld standardizes the eval. Same cadence. Comparable windows, apples to apples tape. If Guyton confirms the vertical juice, the offense gets evalved for play action. If Dowell holds the edge like a 6th lineman, outside zone flows. If J. Jones dominates the kicking phase, he earns credibility as WR6, and that still wasn't the most surprising part of the day. After the handshakes of a preseason win, a discomfort you can't hide reappeared. The run defense still leaks. We've seen this move. In 2024, the 49ers gave up 4.4 yards per carry and the second most rushing TDs, numbers that undercut any Super Bowl talk. The front office responded by pouring picks and energy into the front. Yet old habits popped against the Raiders: soft edges, gap misfits, and tackles slipping on first contact. If it doesn't become a daily priority, January will collect the debt. Ashton Genie ran 7 times for 33 yards and a score, shaking off contact and accelerating through glancing blows. Chris Collier added 4 carries for 26 yards, pressing blocks with patience and sharp vision. It isn't the single game stat that scares you, it's the pattern. 1st and 10 becomes 2nd and 5, the defense loses the right to dictate, and the opposing coordinator opens the playbook. When an offense sees it can run zone, duo, or power without immediate punishment, the clock becomes your enemy. The pressure rises because resources were spent. First rounder Mikael Williams arrived to anchor the edge with length and torque, collapse pockets and be physical at the point of attack. Inside, Alfred Collins brings first step pop and long arms to shed doubles and close half gaps. Linebacker Nick Martin adds fast eyes and range to erase cutbacks and clean up trash behind the line. On paper, that's your new front spine. In practice, the sync isn't there yet. The communication on shifts, gap integrity after motion, and trust in the guy next to you, those tiny details decide third and short. The fix runs through early downs. Against heavy sets, load the box with 5-2 looks and lean on bare fronts to weld the A and B gaps shut. Mix in run blitzes with the slot knifing into C when the tight end tightens his split. Edges must set contain with patience, no biting on option. Inside, play low, win leverage, eyes on the hips. Backers trigger downhill with outside leverage to deny the cutback. Safeties must fit the alley on time and turn 8-yard gains into threes. If the offense controls the clock, the defense breathes and avoids long series. This is where a potential Brian Robinson arrival dovetails with the front's needs. More short yardage conversions mean fewer defensive snaps and more freedom to rotate the line. There's still more than 2 weeks before week 1 in Seattle. If Williams stabilizes the edge, Collins absorbs doubles and Martin speeds up the read and react inside, the identity returns. If not, every opposing run becomes a finger in the wound and the dream shrinks. The bar is simple. Stop the run early, force third and long, and let the rush eat. So here's where we leave it. Faithful, Santa Clara is a real-time lab, testing receivers to stabilize practice and maybe unearth a contributor. In the backfield, the perfect fit has a name and an address, if the front office decides to value protection for McCaffrey over the cost of a pick. On the perimeter, Robbie Chosen reopened a vertical lane that changes how defenses line up. And on defense, the message couldn't be louder. Stopping the run is a non-negotiable. If you had to choose today, do you close a deal for a power back, double down on the front, or push chips behind pure speed outside? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and let's keep building this thing together.